folks. Thanks for coming on with us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 45 minutes to an hour or so discussing one of the drivers of business, particularly now in the time period right after AEP, where we need to be re-examining some of our enrollments that have come through the docket and through our hard efforts. And then also, how are we going to fill our book for folks to talk to in 2021, part of the planning process? We have another webinar on that at the end of the month if you're interested. And then, of course, making certain that we utilize a organization who's known for their flexibility in working with agents, the tools that they have, the product that they have, and make it a part of our agency's revenue streams and flows and opportunities to reach out to people that we don't have with just working Medicare-based medical benefits, even though that where it may be what is our bread and butter. So we'll be spending some time in having our guests from Ameritas come on and visit with us about their programs. We do want you to note, however, that today's presentation is being recorded, and it, along with much of the information we reference through the course of the presentation, will be sent as a follow-up to you by email. It's also important to note that, hey, the software package, since we have you all on mute right now, has a section in there for questions. Please put your questions in there as they occur to you. Keep in mind that we do commonly answer most of the questions through the course of the presentation, but we will check at two different points in time to make certain that they're all covered and that we get you the information that you need. As part of a level set, let's start with a little bit of information about Premier Marketing. Many of you are very familiar with us, but for those of you who might need a refresher or a little bit of a, hey, who are you? We're a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We've got offices across the country, and we act as an insurance wholesaler, bringing insurance products to the public through independent insurance agents and agencies such as yourself. And those agents and agencies access these programs with contracts at the highest possible commission rates and have recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. As I mentioned, being founded in '68, that means we recently celebrated a milestone in our history, a proud accomplishment for what began as a small family agency in rural Nebraska that's become one of the largest marketing organizations of its type in the country in the Medicare space and working with ancillary products. We do so through a full portfolio of insurance programs, including the base medical coverages for Medicare in Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement plans and the standalone Part D programs. We also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and final expense products, annuity programs, pre-need plans. We also offer long and short-term care programs and disability income, and a selection of ancillary benefits that offer you access for dental, vision, and hearing, critical illness and cancer plans, hospital indemnity, and accident programs. That Medicare Advantage portfolio is very large and robust. It's available to you. The national carriers are there, along with some of the strong regionals that make a difference for you in your market. And that same philosophy carries over into the standalone prescription drug programs, the PDP plans, where those are available to you through our organization as well. When you speak of Medicare supplements as the other main option for medical coverage for the population, we have a very large and robust selection there for you, along with select marketing programs that help you be successful in that space as well. When we look at the ancillary programs in each of the categories, you've got the leaders there for you in those areas, and we've recently introduced a telehealth benefit with MD Live. So the base coverages, you'll look at these and you'll see that our guest speakers for today have the dental, vision, and hearing programs that are so crucial to our success in this space. And we wanted to make certain that you realize some of the things that come with affiliation with that organization, that carrier, through our organization. Because when we look at the Medicare market specifically, since that's where most of us will dive into, some of us will have some under 65 business as well. We understand that. But Medicare opportunities are well defined. It's a program like ours or different insurance carriers. When they speak of the aging of the baby boomers, you hear of the silver tsunami, 10,000 people a day, one every 10 seconds, whatever it takes. But if you looked at Medicare based just on the burgeoning numbers of people turning 65, you're not looking at entirely an accurate number, because there's a good portion of those folks, about 10 to 12% at least, with an increasing number now with some of the economic pressures put on people, where they're not accessing all their Medicare benefits immediately when they turn 65. Some of them will delay for one reason or another. But we have a population that many people overlook, and that's a 1/6 to 1/7 percentage of the Medicare population of 63 million plus, whatever it happens to be, with whatever organization you're looking at that's counting it. You have that under 65 population that are on Medicare and are eligible for programs that help them with their dental, vision, hearing needs. So a good additional market for us to look at. And thankfully, the under 65 population, if they're on Medicare, they also have other factors helping pay for part of that, and they may have a real need for these programs to help them budget, as do folks that aren't on Medicare at all, because these programs are offered to people under the age of 65. However, we most commonly run across a population that needs our help in the Medicare space because of what's going on with their body and what's not going on with their wallet and bank accounts. Different people that need help with these expenses that are covered to one degree or another with dental, vision, hearing programs. And when we look at how the Medicare population is dealing with their base medical, you're getting pretty even split between Medicare Advantage and MedSup. And some folks that show still on original Medicare, we need to realize that this covers this whole gambit, no matter what their base coverages are. Because whatever choice they make, and when they come into Medicare, what they add on the base programs with B and D, or a standardized, modernized MedSup, or a Medicare Advantage plan, in each of those areas, help with dental, vision, hearing expenses are crucial and are a known need for that population. And since we are dealing with a population that works with their own language to a degree, part of the follow-up you'll see for today's presentation will be to acronym guides that will help you translate some of those alphabet soup things that are coming at you. It's also nice to know that the population, as it ages in or receives Medicare, we're seeing an increased savvy with digital devices, and health plans are helping us with the population to address the fact that sometimes we can't see folks face to face. Ameritas has some really cool programs to help you with that, and it enables us to do our job no matter what the outside environmental influences, we'll put it that way, are, and helps us because we can pivot from a in-person to a virtual presentation with greater numbers of security of the folks that we reach out to because they're used to it. And a whole bunch of them right now are really used to it because of the telehealth visits that they have for medical care. When we look at the dental market overall, we see that most folks, when they go on Medicare, don't have dental coverages, and many have needed care and that they're foregoing because of it, because they have good intentions. 76% they're going to see the dentist in the next year. 42% actually do so. And the biggest reason they don't is the cost. So we help eliminate that distraction because those base coverages that Medicare does offer don't go into the needs of a lot of what our folks are looking for. And even if they have dental coverage by being a member of a Medicare Advantage plan, well, it's not enough. And even if they're on a Medicaid, Medicare program, it's not enough in many circumstances because nearly 1 in 5 of the beneficiaries who use dental services spent more than $1,000. And that's a pretty common amount of dental coverage in Medicare Advantage plans. Some of them have really goosed that coverage going into 2021, but we run across the folks that need our help because they are utilizing care and may not have the dollars to cover it. And dental goes beyond just taking care of the mouth. It does a whole bunch of different things in identifying other needs for their medical services. Their challenges with some of their health are identified through these other visits, through a dentist or an audiologist or a ophthalmologist or optometrist. They're seeing some of the things that folks are discovering through these benefits rather than through their primary means of healthcare with their doctor or specialist. We also see that you can use a number of tools by Medicare to help lead into this discussion. We're all familiar with the scope of appointment, and when you look at the most commonly used generic scope of appointment, what's one of the main categories that are listed there? Dental, vision, hearing. Marking each of these categories to do a thorough review walks you into a conversation about this product, and you're reinforced by the Medicare and You book. Ooh, I needed to replace that picture because we have 2021. But on page 49, what's covered, it says what's not covered as well, and that's most of the dental services. And regardless of what their base coverages are, if it's MedSup or MA, they need help in this area. The most effective way of bringing up the conversation, well, it's the chief attribute of my buddy, Pepe Le Pew. You never get kissed if you don't ask. So ask. That's a big thing because it helps with your retention across the board. Studies have shown that the more policies you have in the house, the better your retention on each of those programs are. And they don't even have to be programs from the same company. Having them with the same agent, which is you, is what drives that retention. And asking about these programs differentiates you from the competition. It gives you an additional revenue stream. You can look at some of the base commissions on these products, and that little bit of production each and every week makes a huge difference as to the monies coming to you and your organization, your agency. But the most important reason you ask, the clients need that coverage. So when we go through and we talk about how you can drive your growth throughout the year through dental programs with Ameritas, we have a guest speaker with us today. And Mr. Taylor Davis has actually designated a substitute for today. He had another obligation. And we have with us Chad Canisi coming in to visit with us about the programs and giving us additional information on how Ameritas can really be a driver of your business and a helper for you in your day-to-day operations. So at this point in time, I'm going to turn the control of the helm over to Chad. And there you go, Chad. I still got my ugly picture and Taylor's, and not yours. My apologies. But it's up to you, sir.
All right, great. Well, first order of business, John, thank you very much. Appreciate it and appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
All right, great. And I think you're seeing my screen, which should be Ameritas Prime Star Individual Dental and Vision.
That's correct.
Good. All right, excellent. All right, well, step one accomplished. So again, thank you very much, everyone in attendance here, and appreciate the opportunity to come and present on behalf of Ameritas. So with some of the time today, John, you did such a great job, I think, of already covering, why dental. That's some of our presentation as well. And as you might expect, we're very much on the same page as the need and the importance of dental and vision for clients as well as including in your portfolio. So we'll cover that. We will cover the product specific. We want to talk about why Ameritas, what sets us apart. That's not just the product, but it's also our network. So we'll touch and focus a bit on that, as well as the enrollment, how easy it can be to incorporate dental and vision as either a seen or an unseen sale with your clients. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and try to advance my screen here, and hopefully everybody now sees this. And you're probably wondering why Blockbuster. We've got that up here on your screen as we talk about why dental and vision. And I like the Blockbuster example because, for one, I don't think it's aged out quite yet. I think most of us can remember Blockbuster. It doesn't seem like long ago you could see one on just about every street corner. In fact, Blockbuster at one point in time had more than 9,000 locations worldwide. They employed 84,000 people. And it feels like just like that, they disappeared. And a lot of studies have kind of popped up on what happened. What did Blockbuster do? Maybe more importantly, what did they not do? And in almost every example, it comes back. They really just didn't consider a competitive market. They didn't offer a full comprehensive service to their clients. They failed to be that one-stop shop. And as a result, they just didn't stay relevant. So we kind of think, in a way, dental and vision is some of that same opportunity. It's a way for you to stay relevant. It's a way for you to stay in front of your clients and offer them a product, again, that they need and want. Whenever we look at that senior population, John, I know you already showed us some of the stats, but a couple more here for everyone. But, this is a growing market. It's a growing opportunity, specifically when we look at the senior population. You can see here, and basically this is a study from CSG Actuarial, but if we look to 2020, there are some almost, we'll call it 60 million seniors. But this bottom line represents seniors without dental coverage. So it's a massive market. It's a huge opportunity. There's some 30 million people, 30 plus million people in 2020 alone that don't have dental. So again, it's a way to set yourself apart. You can lead with dental. You can come back and cross-sell other products, other opportunities. But for every one client that you know that doesn't have medical insurance, there are probably 3 without dental. So again, it's a way to kind of stand apart, stay in front of, and reach clients. And again, another way to kind of stay relative and competitive in your market. It adds value to your client's life. Again, I'm repeating some stuff, John, that I know you already mentioned, but it's not just about dental, but it's their overall health. The teeth and what more and more studies now find represents as your total body health. It's going to help you build referrals. We hear this time and time again. Just the opportunity to introduce yourself to more clients. It's going to help your reputation, and as John showed us also, it's going to help your persistency. The more clients you have with the product, the better that overall business will be. So bottom line, it's going to grow your business. It's going to help grow your commission. Now, why Ameritas? And we think there's a handful of reasons. Of course, we're a bit biased, but like to say it's our roots and our rating. We are an A-rated carrier. We're a mutual company. We're based in Lincoln, Nebraska. And Ameritas has history that dates back to the late 1800s. Now, Ameritas has been focused in the dental space for quite some time. We're not a carrier that does a lot of things and then just kind of throws the dental at it. Dental is at our heart. It's our primary focus and what we do. Again, we do have other products, but we believe in that mantra there up the top. Don't try to do everything, do one thing well. So I think you'll find in our product offering, it's all about creating economic value for your clients, about delivering product simplicity and that ease of enrollment, and create an extensive network that gives you and your clients more opportunity for savings and provider options. That experience, we're more than 30 years in senior dental. That's about 300 million in force. In the dental overall, we've been operating in this area for more than 60 years. So again, experience is a big part of it. And I think that's valuable because as this next slide shows, it's not just about, let me say it this way. We can draw a lot of information from that current client base. All of these clients that have dental policies with us, we learn a little something about them. What do they like? What do they not like? What do they use? And all of that helps us to kind of really focus and build better products, better enrollment options. And again, just improve our overall portfolio. Some other things that we find in our market research as we study more specifically the seniors, they have higher costs on key services due to higher frequencies. Some of this might be kind of a given, right? That seniors, they spend 2.5 times the amount on the average person on crowns, basically saying they're more likely to get crowns. Just as the next line shows, they're 4 times the amount on dentures. So again, older you get, the more likely you are that you got dentures. That makes sense. But the bottom one, I think, is really telling and maybe a bit surprising, but it's also preventative costs. These are needs similar to non-retirees. It means that seniors are just as focused and want those preventative services as much as they do anything else. They just want to take care of what they got. And maybe that's not surprising because, like any appliance, the older it gets, the more it's going to break down. Our teeth and our eyesight are no different. So again, seniors want to protect what they've got. They want to get into the dentist each and every year, a couple times a year for those cleanings, the exams, and just protect their teeth and their overall health. So that's something I think really important to consider whenever we talk about the plan and you talk about offering product to your clients. Now, I think another, great thing about Ameritas, we've got nationwide coverage. You're looking at a map here, and I'll just go ahead and mention we have product available in all 50 states. Now, there are some state variations. You notice a couple gray states there on your screen. That's just a different product that is approved. So if you're joining from one of those areas, we've got you covered. There is product available. It just looks a little different from what we'll talk about here today. Those blue states on your screen, it's just a state-specific version. It's still kind of the same base plan, just a few modifications. But the majority of states out here in the green, this is kind of our standard kind of shelf product. It's the Prime Star Protect. Now, we do offer a few versions of this. You'll notice there's Prime Star Protect as well as a network version. Either product allows you to go in or out of network for benefits, and we'll highlight that feature here in a bit. But again, just remember that if you're joining in here today, we do have product approved in all 50 states. Now, our primary product, if you will, it's the Prime Star Protect. And you can see here on your screen, plan details to the left, plan benefit to the right. And under those plan details, we start with preventative services. These are those type 1 benefits. These are the exams to a year, cleanings to a year, x-rays, fluoride, and sealants for your younger ages. Now, one important thing to note, and if maybe one thing you remember here about Ameritas today, it's the right-hand side. It's the plan benefits. Day 1 benefits. There are no waiting periods, whether that's preventative, basic, or major services. You can enroll today for coverage starting tomorrow. And if it's preventative, that's 100%. That means you can talk to a client today, you can get them enrolled, they can see a dentist next week, and they're 100% covered for those preventive services. That's a great opportunity. That's a great product feature. And it also extends to the basic services. These are your type 2, things like fillings, simple extractions. Also, day 1 benefit, that benefit begins at 65%. And then the product does get better over time. So year 2 of the policy, that benefit, that percentage, that coinsurance jumps up to 80%. Major services, these are your type 3, implants, root canals, periodontics, crowns. Important to note here, dentures, also day 1 benefit. And they start at 20%. Once again, this will bump up to that 50% in the second year of the policy. So again, better over time, more coverage, more benefit, more value for your client. But again, really important to remember here, day 1 benefits. So you can enroll a client today, they can see a provider tomorrow, and even if it's something like a crown, can get up to 20% coverage for that service. The policy does include orthodontics. It's 15% day 1, jumps to 50 after the second year. And it does have the lifetime maximum there, as you see it, $1,000 per child. The benefit year deductible, This is per person. It's for basic and major services combined. Does not apply to your preventive, but it's a maximum of 3 deductibles per family. It's currently $50. I should also state that we are currently waiving this through the end of the year. We started this back in the summer, but if you are still enrolling clients, they're getting into the dentist anytime yet this year, we're waiving those deductibles as part of our COVID relief kind of policy, if you will. But normally this is a $50 deductible. And then as the bottom line there shows, the benefit year maximum. This is either $1,000 or $2,000. This is kind of the one variable you choose with your client, or they choose kind of at checkout, if you will. Do they want $1,000 or a $2,000 max benefit? $1,000, of course, a little less comprehensive as far as the coverage, but also a little less expensive plan. $2,000, that is per policy year, and it is per client, per person. It applies for the preventive, basic, and major services combined. So $1,000 or $2,000. Now, we looked at the product. It's a major part, and we'll be back to review some of it. But along with product, it's not just having, I should say, a good product. It's having a good product with a good network. And again, this is where we're happy to say we've got both. The network allows your clients to save money. Now, it's not required that they see them, but there's value when they do it. An example, the Ameritas Dental Network, we pay claims at the network negotiated rate, or a MAC. That's a maximum allowable charge. So that means if you go to see this dentist for this service, there's this much they can charge you. It's kind of a negotiated rate up front, which will save your clients money. On average, when using one of our network providers, it's anywhere from 25 to 50% savings with that negotiated rate. So that's significant. And that's even before we look at the product itself and some of the savings and the co-insurance that would apply. Now, remember, you don't have to see a network provider. You can see any dentist. You've got a dentist that you've loved, you've seen for years, you want to go to them, they're not in our network, okay. There's opportunities to maybe have them included. But you can see that dentist and we will still pay claim. We pay it at the 80th UNC, or usual and customary. That basically says that we'll pay claim at what 8 out of 10 dentists charge in this area for this service. Now, a great way to get that checked out, fairhealthconsumer.org. That's a website you can see right there underneath it. It's a third-party site, and it lets you do just that. It's a really cool site that lets you go in and say, I'm in this zip code. I'm going to see this dentist for this service. And what can I expect? And it'll kind of break that down for you as far as what might be the 80th usual and customary charge. Now, other values of the network. It's lower premium with the network product, and again, expectation that you are going to, more of an expectation, I should say, that you're going to see a network provider. But there's those contracted fees. There's that MAC, that maximum allowable charge for the services. But it also is just a better overall consumer experience. There's no balance billing. There's no claim forms. So that just makes for a happier client anytime they visit a dentist, right? Again, you can enroll them today. They can go tomorrow. They're going to show up at the front desk. They're going to give them their name. They're going to recognize them in the system. And again, just a really pleasant, as pleasant, I guess, a trip to the dentist can be whenever they go. So again, great customer experience. And in addition to it, we continue to grow that network. Just in this last year alone, we've grown our access points by more than 70,000. So currently we sit at about 557,000 access points across the country. Now, an access point is considered the brick and mortar. That's kind of where you might go for dental service, like a village dentist, gentle dentist. Can't get those words out, but again, it might be that physical location that houses a multiple of providers. Whenever we look at the belly buttons, if you will, the unique providers, the individual dentists, about 127,000. And I've heard a number that there are maybe a little over, I think 200,000 dentists across the country. So whenever you look at that total number, we've got a large percentage already covered, and that means opportunity. That if your client wants to see a network provider, good chance there's going to be one in or around the area for them, which will add, again, significant savings to them. Here's an example of that, some of the economic value for the client. And on average, a senior spends a little over $1,100 on dental care per year, $1,154. Now, you see here on the screen, cleaning, filling, crown, it shows you the usual rate and then a network rate. So if we just look at those two for a moment, the left-hand side of the screen, and we're going to jump down to a crown. And if you remember back to our plan detail, that's considered a major service. So as we look at the crown, and we're going to look at some of the savings. Advanced a little bit too far. So that crown is $1,337 usual rate. Somebody just kind of walking in off the street needs a crown. It's going to cost them a little over $1,300. Now the network rate, this would be that maximum allowable charge that we've negotiated with our provider. That's $819. That's some of that savings that we talked about, that 25 to 50%. So right out of the gate, we've knocked down the cost for that service from $1,300 to around $800. Now remember, major service, that means we're going to cover at 20% inside of the first year. So day one cost to the client is $655, or savings of about 51%. So that's $682 in savings right out of the gate. Remember, you can enroll them today. They can go in next week, and they could be covered for some of those services. Now, also remember that year two got better on the policy because the coinsurance jumped from 20 to 50%. So more savings for the client. In fact, $972 in savings and almost 70%. So that's significant, and those are real life examples and services that clients need and, again, use. So what are some ways to incorporate dental and vision with Medicare? John's already kind of mentioned a number of these, so it'll be a little bit of repeat, but, you know, we ask the questions, you know, how do you do it? How do you incorporate? How do you bring up dental with your clients? And it goes without saying, sometimes it is just the simple of things, right? I just ask, you know, do you currently have dental insurance? I just bring it up with every client that I talk to, because 71% of people plan on purchasing a dental plan upon retirement. Another question, how do you plan on paying for your dental expenses when you retire? We mentioned it, but the average senior spends a little over $1,100 in dental expense. Ameritas, the average discount on senior claims is at 32%. So again, real savings. And then, did you know traditional Medicare does not cover most dental? And at Ameritas, we offer standalone dental and vision to help fill some of the gaps in traditional Medicare. This includes next day effective dates and no waiting periods. Also important to note here, we like to remind everyone that we do not coordinate benefits. So if you do have another product or another policy or whatever it might be that offers some dental benefit, again, we treat everything submitted to us as a primary claim. So again, no coordination of benefits. Other ways to incorporate, John, I know you mentioned this one as well, but it's the scope of appointment, the Medicare and You Guidebook. Let compliance be your friend and bring up what's not covered. You know, page 49, dental, denture, and vision, and all products that you can use and pick up from Ameritas. Now, we do have those vision products, and they are on a standalone basis. So you can purchase from Ameritas, or you and your client, dental by itself, vision by itself, or you can kind of bundle the two, if you will, as you or your client checks out with us. Now, there's two different vision products that we offer. And the big differences between the two come down to the provider. There's IMED and there's VSP. So right there, we cover a large part of the market with these two partners. And before we move on, I guess, mention here too, why vision? And I think that's really similar to why dental, right? It's just about your overall health. I'm willing to bet, especially in the senior market, most of your clients have glasses. Most probably lose their glasses. I know I'm already in that boat, picking up a pair or two every year, it feels like. So why vision? Because we see the eye doctor. We need to for all of these things on the screen. It's just difficulty with day-to-day life. The older we get, and the more our vision is strained. So vision is just an equal and as important part to the overall health as are the teeth. And with our Prime Star Choice, this is the partner with VSP. This is the Choice Vision. And you'll notice here that VSP, the network retailers, some really common names here: Costco, Iconic, VisionWorks, and Walmart. So a lot of times whenever we're talking about the vision, which product do you choose? I think a lot of times we'll just kind of ask, well, which retailer do you visit? I go to Costco for, my exams, my glasses. Okay, great. Then maybe the Prime Star Choice Vision is your best option. Now, if you go to IMED, some of the notable partners include LensCrafters, Contacts Direct, Pearl Vision, Optical, and Glasses.com. So again, this might be where maybe IMED dictates, who you use or where you go there. And the products are somewhat similar, and we'll look at that Prime Star Select product as the example here. But an eye exam, again, we have both in and out of network allowances. The eye exam is just $25 for in-network. Contact lens exam and fitting is just $15. And then you get allowances for frames as well as contacts, up to $130. And still allowance even if you are going out of network. But again, your ability to choose here between our two providers. Now, the monthly rates you'll see here, very affordable. Policyholder is $10.60. Policyholder plus a dependent jumps up to $19.63. There's a couple state modifications there: Florida, Minnesota, Mississippi. But outside of that, it's really straightforward pricing. There's no age banding, gender, anything like that. It just says you're in this state. Is it you or you independent or you and two or more dependents? Anything two or more, a family of five, our quote unquote family plan, if you will, would be the policyholder plus two or more dependents. And that rate is $29.34 for each individual. The benefit frequencies, the exam every 12 months, the eyeglasses, the lens contacts every 24, along with the frames. Now, the other, the Choice product, you'd see it very similar to this. I will point out a little bit more in the premium, about $16 or so, but some of those frequencies bump down to 12 months for the lenses and the frames. So it's kind of what you're getting in some of the frequency for just a little bit of tick up on the premium. But really straightforward, simple pricing for your clients. Now I'll pivot here, and I'm gonna share with everybody what the enrollment process looks like. This is one of my, I think, favorite parts of our product overview, because I mentioned this earlier. I don't think it's just about the product or the network. I think product, the network, and the ease of enrollment. And I love how easy this process can be. Everyone that appoints with Ameritas, we personalize a link. It's unique to you. Now, that link will then tie all business back to you as a writing agent. It's a systematic, straight-through processing, and it's all done electronically. So what that means, that you appoint today, you get an email from us shortly after that gives you your personalized link that you can use while sitting with a client to enroll them into the dental and vision. or you can even email that to a client, have them enroll themselves, or you can even post this link to your website, let clients check it out, kind of quote themselves, enroll themselves in many cases. So here's what that looks like. This is kind of an example of what your site looks like. You can see here, and I know some of this is maybe a little bit small print, but starts with some real basic questions. And we ask very minimal questions to get started. So the quote is where we begin. You put in the client zip code, step 1, the insurance needs, dental or vision, and then who's going to be covered. Is it policyholder plus dependent, or 2 or more? And next, we select the coverage start date. So is it tomorrow? I keep talking about next day benefit. And again, you can enroll a client for tomorrow. You can set that coverage start date. Or you can bump this thing out as much as 90 days for coverage. There's your agent information to the right. It'll be your phone number or address and the information you provide us. So from there, I click on See Plans. And now it pops up any and all of those options available to me based on the state. And you can see here we've got 4 on the screen. There's the Prime Star Protect Network. So this is the network version, which would be a little less on the premium, but again, assumes that you are going to stay inside a network, a little higher cost if you go out. That Prime Star Protect, the one that we talked about down there at the bottom, and once again, now your $1,000 or your $2,000 amounts that you get to elect from. So which product's right for you lets you kind of pick through, see some of the different benefits, the preventative, the co-insurance amounts, and then you just click on the plan that you like. In this case, the Prime Star Protect Network, there's the details, reminders, no waiting periods, no enrollment fees, $2,000 maximum. There's the premium, and I can go ahead and click purchase. There's the Prime Star Protect, similar, and premium down here at the bottom. But again, very, very similar reminders on some of the specifics of the plan. Whenever I'm ready and I've got the plan that I like, or you and your client have agreed upon, you just click the purchase button, and away you go. A few more pages where you input the client's information, the payment options, and the payment options can be bank draft, ACH. You can do even a credit card, so you've got that kind of flexibility. And remember, you can push this out as much as 90 days if you need to or choose to. But that's it. The enrollment process, it takes just minutes, probably 3 to 4 minutes to walk through all of that and get your client enrolled. Really simple, really straightforward. Now, another really important and popular question is, well, what about my dentist? Are they in or out of network? I should have highlighted this before I moved on. I'll try and bump back really quick. But you'll see it right here. Yeah, I should have just highlighted it for everybody. Okay, so right here before I moved on, you can see down at the bottom of the screen, it says Find a Dentist. So as I'm starting my quote process, maybe this is where I begin. Let's first find out, well, is my dentist in or out of network? So you can click on that button, and this would be the screen that pops up for you, the provider search. So from there, you can put in your address, your zip code, your location. It's even got some advanced filters for you if you want to try and narrow down or search a specific provider. But you just click on the search, and it's going to pop up any and all of the providers in our network. So we put in a Minnesota zip code, and up pops any and all of these dentists. Now, you can see here some of them are broken down by distance. You see one here, Sammy, he's in green. The others are in black. They're all in network. Now, the reason they're highlighted in green, or you might see someone in green, if you remember earlier, we said that a network provider might provide you as much as 25 to 50% savings. The green just says it's likely a bigger discount than everybody else. Maybe Sammy's a little bit closer to that 50 or a little higher percentage in discount than everybody else. But anybody you find here on the screen will be considered a network provider. And maybe that dictates a little bit of which way you want to go on the product. So that's a great tool, a great option, and a great way to search for some of the different dentists. Now, once you have enrolled, you and your client both get an email. That's your confirmation. You can wait on cards before they go out and they see the dentist. You don't need to, but in about, I think, 5, 7, maybe 10 days, you're going to get those cards in the mail for your dental and vision. But the email also confirms your approval and ready to go. That's it. So again, this is where, John, you mentioned it earlier, but the opportunity, I think this year especially, to stay relevant, to stay in front of clients, and to have a product where you can enroll and offer them these valuable products, either seen or unseen, I think has been great. And it's been some really great results for us. People still need to see the dentist. This isn't one of those, I think we're finding out, do-it-yourself things at home. It's not a home haircut. We need to see the dentist. People are trying to get back out, want to get back out, have been seeing their dentists on a frequent basis. And with this, you can email a client a link, you can paste it to your website. They can enroll themselves on a Sunday afternoon watching football and go in and see the dentist the next day. So it's that kind of flexible, it's that kind of ease, and a really great, valuable, I think, product. Just to kind of wrap that up, it also allows you to sell 12 months out of the year, not limited to any kind of a Medicare timeframe. It's going to help you develop more leads, introduce yourselves to new clients, and create more referrals. It's going to help you stay relevant, add to your persistency with those multiple products, and add value, most importantly, to your client's life with their dental and vision health. So, John, with that, I'm sure some questions I probably missed, but I'll turn it back over to you, and thank you very much again for the opportunity.
Yeah, we actually, Chad, have a couple or a number of questions that have popped up. One of which I think you addressed through the presentation, which is how you can find which dentists are in a particular area through the Finder. One of the other questions is, can one person purchase 2 dental programs with themselves for different companies? And wondering about the folks that are high need individuals, how that would come about as a fee-for-service type of policy. I imagine that's possible with different companies, but not with the same company. Your thoughts?
Yeah, correct. Not with the same. We don't permit multiple policies on one policy holder, but that's where, and again, a really good question. We don't coordinate a benefit. So if someone does have another policy, another plan, we see everything as the primary claim when it's submitted to us. Okay.
Another one is, do these plans work with Advantage plans? I can answer that for the part of it, because it's, once as Chad just mentioned, since they don't coordinate coverages, absolutely. This is a way, one of the reasons why we speak to these programs and Ameritas in particular, because they can layer on to whatever coverage is offered by the MA program, and that's why we gave some of those statistics up front. Chad, your thoughts on that?
You hit it. Yep, that's right. Back to the coordinating coverage or benefits, but yes, it will stack up, and we get that one a lot. That does work well with some of those opportunities.
Awesome. I think that's it for now. We might have some another space of questions toward the end, but a little quick wind up here as to why you would want to do business with Ameritas through Premier. And I think that some of the advantages that we can help bring to you as an agent is the fact that we can help you contract easily. One of the things that we recommend to a lot of agents that are looking for multiple carriers is to create an agent profile insurance bay to have a depository of your information on your E&O, on the different questions that you answered the different carriers on, because many of those are similar. Many of them allow you then to do an electronic process in contracting by using this system. Sometimes the carriers, not all carriers participate in this, but we work with those carriers for their own electronic systems to help make contracting as easy as possible. And speaking of E&O, of errors and admissions, we do offer a program through our partners in this area with 360-degree coverage pros, where this is a program you own and it covers you regardless of who your upline is. There are organizations out there that will add you to a blanket policy for a particular carrier or two, but if you don't have every piece of your business with them, you're in a dangerous situation. You need a policy that will cover you for whomever and for whatever in the insurance world, and this does that for you, and it's yours. You own it. Additionally, we help with keeping your license in play with our association through WebCE and the continuing education programs that they offer online. And you have a way of adding to your own benefits as an independent agent through a modified guarantee issue, non-cancelable individual disability income program that has you, the owner, and a participant in the commissions to add to your own benefit package to protect your income. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded, we have a library of past presentations as well that speak to carrier products like today's discussion with Ameritas and their DVH program. We also have programs in there that speak to areas of insurance in general and different marketing tips and techniques to get you in front of different audiences. And they're available for you 24/7, either at our website at premiersmi.com, as is noted here, or through our YouTube channel. We do also offer a number of different electronic tools that can help you in selling these products across the board. Our Medicare Center program has 3 different quote engines in it, 2 that concentrate on Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, 1 that is a life insurance and an ancillary program, and that actually helps you cross-sell as well, all available to you without cost as a contracted agent with Premier, and creates a CRM for you to use as well within this tool. And it includes the tool available from CSG that allows you to quote different areas, but also includes the dental programs, where our partner of today is listed as part of that. And it's really cool because you can go in and cross-sell. If you've been in a Medicare Advantage household, you sold them or you didn't. Or the same thing with the Medicare supplement programs, but particularly with Medicare Advantage programs, there's a cross-sell feature where you can go and identify their current base coverage and speak to adding a dental coverage as well as part of that program. It's a nice way to make certain that you, as one of the questions earlier said, can you layer this on a Medicare Advantage program? Absolutely, and this tool will help you do it. We also put in play a piece on our website to help gather all the information from the different carriers on their different trips and incentive programs and how that helps you qualify also for Premier's agent program, which in the past was a producer's convention and now is cash in your pocket based on what you do in different areas of the insurance world. Medicare Advantage and PDP programs have their max compensation set by the government. And since most of the programs are paying out of that max amount, they don't qualify for these incentives. But partners like Ameritas will kick out information, as do different med sup carriers, to help you in other areas as well to qualify for these monies. We do help with a number of programs on how to market through cold calls, community-based programs, carrier activities, community activities, door knocking when appropriate or compliant, social media and direct mail campaigns. And a lot of these do in the past have a need for a presence in the community physically. But we have different programs that help you take that same marketing experience and make it a virtual experience and work through it. Because when you look at these different lead programs, our direct mail support is based on production, deeply discounts, the cost of a regular mailer or singular mailer through production. And we have different programs with vetted vendors to help you in this area as well. You go through one of these, that discount will apply based on your production. There's a program set up for the Medicare and ancillary world, and there's another one for final expense. So you could actually qualify twice in the same month for a lead program. And we do also have other programs here that help you basically Well, if the total expense of a direct mail program doesn't fit in your budget, but you'd like to have people to visit with, obviously, we have programs that will actually enable you to access return to direct mail through 2 different programs, and enables you to get on a direct mail system regularly, either through the returns or through direction of your own program, because that's like an exercise program. Do it consistently, it'll help. Do it once, you just get a little bit of pain. We do have Facebook lead programs available also for final expense and Medicare, and it's all a means for us to help you help your own business, because we want that business and we're asking you for it. And as you have seen the value of a DVH program, particularly with Ameritas, as part of your personal marketing program, we have that as part of our Planning Past AEP presentation we're doing at the end of the month. It also gives you the opportunity to take advantage of that now and move forward with it, because that gives you the ability to create additional revenue streams, cover the needs of your prospects and clients, all done with a reputable carrier that's a leader in their field. That's why we're happy to partner with Ameritas. You can reach any of us at Premier through our toll-free number, 1-800-365-8208. You will be receiving follow-up information, as I mentioned before, including a link to the recording of today's presentation, and we'll be reaching out to see how we can help you in this area. You can also get additional detail on our website at premiersmi.com. To check one more time for additional questions. Yes, you will receive a copy of the training. That's the last question that was added. So until we get the opportunity to visit with you again, I want to thank Chad for coming on the presentation, but I want to thank you as a participant to come on as well. We realize time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you spending time with us as you have today. We also want to thank you for your business if you worked with us in the past. Truly appreciated, and we look forward to continuing and improving on those relationships as well. All said, until we chat again, we wish you good selling. Thanks so much, and we're going to talk with you soon. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Folks, thanks for coming on the line with us today and viewing our presentation. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing. We'll be spending the next 45 minutes to an hour or so discussing a topic that's pretty much foremost in a lot of agents who work in the Medicare space is mine, and that is working with Medicare supplements throughout the year. For those of us who have been active in the annual election period with Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, we realize that there's a difference in the oversight and the opportunity sometimes when it comes to the type of base medical coverage people need to fill the holes in what the base Medicare coverage is. And so we discussed that today. Today's presentation is being recorded, and it, along with information that we will reference through the course of the presentation, well, the link to that recording and that other information will be sent to everybody who has RSVP'd to today's meeting. You'll notice in the software package that there is a section for questions. I'd ask that you place your questions there. We find that we address many of them through the course of a presentation, but we'll make certain we get you the information you need to satisfy the question that you have. As a bit of a level set, let's talk a little bit first about who Premier Marketing is if you haven't become familiar with us. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. We are part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler, providing insurance product to the public through independent insurance agents and agencies such as you. And we do so through contracts that are at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. As I mentioned, being founded in 1968, that means not too long ago, we celebrated a milestone in our history, and that's the 50th anniversary of the agency that began in rural Nebraska as a small family agency that's grown into one of the largest marketing organizations of its type in the country. We do so through a full portfolio of products, and that includes the Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, but of course also the Medicare supplement programs that we'll discuss today. We also, however, have a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans. We also offer long and short-term care programs along with disability income plans and ancillary benefits through programs that address the needs in dental, vision, hearing, critical illness, cancer, and hospital indemnity programs. When we speak to the Medicare Advantage programs, we have the national carriers available through our organization, along with many of the regional carriers that can make a difference for you in your market. And that same concept pulls over into the standalone prescription drug programs, where those national carriers are available to you through our organization. When you speak of Medicare supplements, we have a very large and robust offering for you, and different programs that are set up to support you specifically to help drive success in this area for you and your agency. And we'll speak in detail to those as we go through the presentation as well. When you look at ancillary products in each of those categories, you've got the national leaders available in each of those categories for use with your prospects and clients through our organization. We are also rolling out a telehealth benefit through MD Live as well, so some new information on different programs available for you outside that. When we look at the Medicare market opportunity overall, though, we're looking at a burgeoning market. You've been on presentations like this before. You hear the story of the aging of the baby boomer, the silver tsunami, the 1 every 10 seconds or 10,000 a day that are aging into Medicare. Well, what we see overall is, of course, a near exponential growth in the age bracket, if you look at it that way, of people 65 plus who become eligible for Medicare. But there are a number of folks, a growing number of folks, that are referred to as working aged and don't access their Medicare benefits when they're first eligible. They defer them for one reason or another into the future. And we also see that there is a portion of the population then that is also served by Medicare, but they're not 65. They're under the age of 65 accessing benefits because of disability, and that's about 1/6 to 1/7 of the Medicare population. That has a particular bearing on today's discussion because those folks that are under 65 generally have different choices for Medicare supplements in their area. They are limited in some of the choices that are available to them, and it goes well beyond macro legislation or any type of circumstance such as that, simply because of the state requirements that govern this. They have different opportunities with different plans that are available to them. That portion of the population also is more affected by some of the economic circumstance, so it's something that we have to look at and be aware of and be prepared to pivot in our presentations, because we want to make certain that we're doing what's best for the folks we're visiting with. And when you look at Medigap policies and the requirements that govern them, a lot of it is standardized, modernized Medicare supplements where the base benefits are the same, but there are also different regulations that come and apply to different states where, well, 3 different states, their standardized, modernized supplements are different than the other ones. If you're on the call in one of those states, you're aware of what they are, but there are also other states that are required to offer at least one kind of Medigap policy to people under the age of 65, and here's a listing of those states with a live link to further information off of Medicare.gov. It's generally limited in type, and like here in Texas, I can testify to the fact that requirement is a Plan A. And for those of you who are active in this space, you realize the expense of that type of policy and the minimum benefits that come into play. We'll talk about that in greater detail in just a moment. But overall, the Medicare population is varied. It has a lot of different needs. 2/3 of the population have chronic illnesses, so it's important that we make certain we give them the information they need, the buying public, in order for them to make their choices based on not only cost and access, but what's a little bit of forecast in the future, making certain that guarantee issue periods are honored or sought in the Medicare supplement space. But we also then have to look at what is most appropriate based on income and assets. They've got to be able to buy and pay for what they are choosing. So sometimes that has a large bearing on what we're discussing. So it's a matter of choice. When people come into Medicare, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to add Part B. Most do. Some of them will look around at the situation then and decide, okay, I don't care for this program because of the network. I don't care for this one because it costs me something. I'll just pick up a Part D drug plan and will self-insure for the shortfall in the basic Medicare medical coverage. Fortunately, that's a small part of the population to a degree, and we have more folks that are looking at how do I cover some of the holes in the coverage that I have with Medicare. And some will access that care through programs known as Medicare Part C, Medicare Advantage programs, where a private company will contract with the government to deliver the care and then are responsible for all of the claims within that situation. In many circumstances, that means a Medicare Advantage program that has prescription drug coverage rolled into it, and that can be very helpful for some individuals. Some, however, feel that a Medicare supplement program, which is not network attached, has a set premium, the benefits don't change year over year, may be a more appropriate choice for them. And so we're going to help people regardless of, well, how their decision process works out, but we're going to concentrate today on Medicare supplements. Because when people are first aging into Medicare, and keep in mind, I should say this is more of a initial Medicare enrollment because it's not just aging in. You see a fairly even split in the folks that are choosing Medicare Advantage versus Medicare supplement programs. The Medicare Advantage option has been growing in percentage year over year, and a lot of that doesn't necessarily reflect upon the Medicare supplement business because folks are consistent in that choice, but we're seeing more and more people who may have been in the original Medicare only category going to Medicare Advantage as well. So we see a fairly even split, a population that chooses not to bring on other coverages, but that may be reflected in the fact they have coverage from the Veterans Administration, from a retirement program at work, or another reason, Medicare, Medicaid in certain circumstances. So it kind of skews those folks in that 17% portion here that showed here because they may have additional coverage. It may just not be a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare supplement plan. Since we are talking about Medicare and the acronyms abound in this area, part of what we do as part of the follow-up is make certain that you have the acronym guide put out by, in this circumstance, Medicare itself, and it helps you with those tons of commercials, or I should say, tons of letters that come at you, and you kind of go, what the are they talking about? I've been in this portion of the business for 35 years, I guess now, and there are always terms that come up that even how well read or studied up you are, sometimes we need to research that acronym, and this can be helpful for you. So let's talk about specifically how we can use a type of product, a base medical coverage, to help people in the Medicare arena, those Medicare beneficiaries, all year long. And keep in mind, part of what we want to do as we go through the presentation is not only harvest the individuals, in a manner of speaking, that are out there for us to discuss this product, but as we go through and help those people, we have to make certain that we are planting seeds for future sales as well. It helps us throughout the year and even into open enrollment when people have the programs very much on the front of their mind. But this gives us the opportunity not only to do business, but grow additional business in the future. And a lot of that is dependent upon how we conduct ourselves when we visit with folks in the here and now. because quite frankly, 2020, boy, what a ride. What a different type of experience. As Grinch says, it stinks, stank, stunk in many circumstances. But for a lot of folks that are active in this area, particularly in the Medicare supplement space, we found ways to work throughout social isolation, throughout a remote process, doing things virtually. And so we look at the situation, we determine the good, we look at the bad, and then the ugly, well, we deal with it in a manner of speaking. So we want to make certain that it applies not only to discussing the detail of the product that we have available, but also the means by which we deliver that information. And tools that can be helpful in that area, well, we're going to chat about those in just a moment. One of the things that most folks that are active in this space are well aware of is the fact that the annual election period did end for most, well, for everyone, on Pearl Harbor Day. There are other people, however, that are coming into the programs available, accessing Medicare for the first time, and they have different enrollment periods available based on their date of birth. Those are those people outside of that October 15th to December 7th period. And there are people in the Medicare supplement world that may have other opportunities to access, well, the plans without underwriting moving forward, and some of that will depend upon the state. However, the big talk a lot of times now at the end of the year, coming into the end of the year, is the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period, which is a time from January 1st to the 31st, or the first 3 months after an initial Medicare entitlement, where folks have an opportunity to change their coverages based on certain circumstances. This OEP period, however, is a big factor when someone already has Medicare Advantage programs, enrolled in them in the past, are currently enrolled with them, and it gives them an opportunity to change coverage. We'll talk about that in greater detail in a second. So specifically, we spoke to what the OEP is, and it gives the individuals that are enrolled in an MA plan as of January 1st different choices. These folks can use this time period to enroll in another MA plan or disenroll from their MA plan to return to original Medicare. That's why this is very pertinent to our discussion today when we're discussing Medicare supplement programs, because a large number of the folks that do choose to disenroll from an MA or an MAPD program and go back to traditional Medicare administration, well, those are the folks that have left that door open, that hole in their coverage that needs to be addressed in one fashion or another, and make certain that we are addressing their needs for prescription drug programs as well. Because if they're pulling out of a MAPD plan, they lose that drug coverage with the plan, obviously, but they have the opportunity to pick up a PDP program. This is also an opportunity, as I mentioned, for those folks that are aging in or coming into Medicare coverage based on whatever factor got them there, or whatever age comes into play. But they have a 3-month period then as well based on when they come into Medicare. So it's not just the folks that are already on the Medicare Advantage programs. You have to look at this also as a possible option for those folks that are just coming into Medicare at all. Specifically, what do they get in OEP? Well, what's interesting is there's a number of different options as we laid out here. They all apply to Medicare Advantage programs generally. We'll put it that way. They have an opportunity to use this one-time election to make any of these changes. And that switch from one Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan to a different Medicare Advantage prescription drug program. We see folks that will take advantage of this based on now the plethora of the calls that are solicited on television by a football celebrity, an acting celebrity, whoever it happens to be. Is it Joe Namath, Joe Theismann? Is it Chelsea Grammer? Is it Danny Glover? Is it Tom, Dick, or Harry out there putting an ad on TV? You see, however, by the way that they tell about the benefits on television, it elicits people's interest in changing from one MAPD to a different MAPD program. However, they're not referencing OEP. We'll talk about why in just a moment. This period does give someone an option to go from an MAPD to an MA-only program. That may be pertinent to folks that have a retirement program that offers prescription drugs, or someone who's accessing through the VA and chooses to do so on a continuous basis, but that's something that we look at. It also has an opportunity for the opposite of that, where someone on an MA-only plan can switch to MAPD. That's the only situation described and available to us through OEP that allows us to add drug coverage to someone's coverage at this time if they don't have a different special election period. So that's something to consider and look for in our efforts to find different people to help during this time period. It is also an opportunity, as I mentioned before, to drop that MAPD plan and go back to original Medicare. They don't have to pick up a D for the medications. Most of them do. And for those of us active in that space, we have to be prepared to help them with that decision. There may be some who work the Medicare supplement space that choose not to add or help an individual or enroll an individual in a prescription drug plan. They may send them to Medicare.gov or to a Medicare Center site that's theirs that gives them the opportunity to research and enroll in a program themselves. If you are one of those individuals that have contracts with MAPD plans, or more specifically in this instance, with PDP programs, and they are through our organization, you'll see that the microsite on Medicare Center can be very, very valuable for you. So let's keep that in mind as we talk about some of the tools in just a moment as well. You also have the folks that are on an MA-only plan that can drop that and go back to original Medicare. It does create that step for them to add a PDP. So this is a circumstance where that MA-only population are, well, that's the individuals that we can help get some additional medication coverage, prescription coverage, one way or another here. And that's the same for different folks that are on original Medicare. We've got to look at this as not a continuation of AEP, because it's not. And it doesn't apply for those folks that have original Medicare only. So they can't use the MA OEP to switch to an MA plan. And it doesn't apply to those folks that have a MSA, a Medicare savings account, or a Medicare cost plan. This applies just to the folks that have an MA type of coverage, and they look to change or address differences in that moving forward during this time. What can we do as agents? Well, this is one of the more frustrating parts of talking about OEP, because we don't really talk about OEP to the prospects and clients. CMS prohibits us from targeting this market specifically, and we cannot engage in activities that use the MA OEP as an opportunity for additional sales. What are they talking about? Well, as we visit with folks and they express a need for a change, it's something that has to come about in that circumstance by the beneficiary itself, and we're not out there speaking to OEP. As we look at some of the SEP codes coming up in just a moment, we realize that, hey, we're going to do some things like they're doing on the television commercials. We're going to talk about generalities. We have an opportunity to do a complimentary Medicare supplement review through one of the tools we'll talk about and demonstrate in a moment. But it's also a situation then where we're using other enrollment opportunities during the OEP to create the demand for our discussion. It's also an interesting way of making certain that we follow other guidelines that seem a little bit backwards to a degree, where we can't call or contact enrollees who change to a new plan selection during the OEP outside of our purview. We can't purchase mailing lists or do things that target OEP specifically. So if I haven't beaten that horse to death, it's important to know we can't send that unsolicited marketing materials which reference MA OEP or the opportunity to make an additional enrollment change because of it. other things we can do. What can we do? Well, we're kind of limited in some of the marketing activities, as we saw from the dead horse slide we just completed, but we can conduct marketing activities that focus on other enrollment opportunities. So all the SEP codes that are out there are available to us if someone qualifies for it, and we can access different pieces of information, different means of enrolling them into a program based on that SEP code and address that on a one-on-one basis. And that includes the different steps that include 5-star plans, the marketing to agents, the moves, all the common things that we see in a SEP chart like this. And we see there are a number of more commonly accessed or used special election periods. We talk about an acronym guide. I'm beating you to death with a SEP and OEP, AEP, MOUSC kind of. But what we see is there's a good portion, if we go back to the profile of a Medicare beneficiary, that may be in need of help with the cost of their medications or even their Medicare program at all. And this can create a special election period for us, utilizing the extra help, low-income subsidy programs, and the Medicare savings programs that also give us that opportunity for a special election period. Generally, when we look at these type of assistance programs, these are for folks that are in a bit of economic distress, shall we say, and those folks may not be our best target when we're talking about Medicare supplement programs that can have a fairly robust premium and they have the additional cost of a Medicare prescription drug program. But that's there for us, so we have to be prepared to help those people as they come about. We also see some folks that may have had Medicare eligibility issues in the past, particularly with deferring their Part B or enrollment thereof, and there are different timetables then that we have to follow to make certain that we can help them with Medicare supplements. And then we see people that move from one service area to another. If you move from one part of the country to another, you can see market differences as a Medicare Advantage member in the network that's there for you. So that's something we need to be aware of too, people that are moving from one area to another, because that does give them a means of changing their coverage at that point in time. We reference the 5-star programs that are out there that have a year-round SEP, and then we also see a certain number of programs that are deemed low-performing Medicare Advantage or Part D programs. They get a SEP for that. It's a very small percentage of programs now. We see an increase across the board in Medicare Advantage star ratings, but in certain areas, that can be a viable way of reaching out to people and helping them change it as well. There are, of course, a number of other special election periods that are available to people, but they apply less frequently, or we run across them less frequently in our marketing efforts. We also have a unique situation this past year where a large number of counties in our country, different states applying here, where they have had weather challenges. And if this prohibited someone from exercising a change in the past, well, this is additional SEP code that is available to you. There's a number of states that are available, and we have it listed by, this is pulled from CMS, but we have it listed by county and the start and end date for that weather SEP. This will come to you as part of a follow-up to today's presentation, pertinent to our discussion, because these are areas that may give us an opportunity to reach out for folks that have discovered that a Medicare supplement fits their budget and is the best choice for them moving forward as well. One of the things that really makes a difference during OEP, SEP, AEP, whatever the period happens to be, is the fact that the majority of people on Medicare don't compare their coverage options annually. So we can continue to offer that service, compare their plans to other programs, either through the Medicare Plan Finder or Medicare Center program we'll discuss briefly in just a moment as well. But this is something we can do year-round. And you're going to talk to people who didn't even look at choices during AEP. So this gives us an option of refreshing their memories as to what their options are, because if they didn't look, they don't know what's out there. Or they may have an opportunity to select a program that more properly fits their circumstance. And so having the tools for those comparisons can be very helpful, and making them easy to access both by ourselves and our beneficiaries. That can really help us as well, because statistics show that the majority of people who are that are reviewing their coverages, well, those folks are doing some homework on their own. So we want to make certain that more than half of the Medicare beneficiaries that don't review or compare their coverages, we're helping them get the information they need to do so, and then assisting them in the choices to take care of that shortfall moving forward. And a lot of it, well, part of it anyway, deals with the fact that some of this population doesn't have access to the electronic means that we speak of in the future here in just a little bit. And then some of them may have it and they don't know how to work it. It's like having a car and not knowing how to drive it in many circumstances. But this gives us then further emphasis, further background, further means for us to watch out for the folks we serve and help them in a fashion that's helpful to them. So having the tools can be very, very helpful. And we see that if we can make these tools available, either through the government or through our private systems, it's going to help these people a lot, because they're not accessing it otherwise. They may not know where it is, or they may feel it's too complicated. Our dealing with specifics for them and giving them access to that information can be very, very helpful. And you'll see how a portion of our Medicare Center does that specifically for the Medicare supplement folks. One of the things that agents will ask sometimes, those that are perhaps newer to the industry or hasn't run across it as much, is the fact that Medicare supplement insurance doesn't work with MA plans. We want to make that plain and simple. Someone has an MA plan, you can't send them or sell them a standardized, modernized Medicare supplement for that shortfall. It's actually illegal. We want to make certain that we're doing things properly. You can obviously discuss Medicare supplements, and if that person is on an MA or an MAPD plan and they want to change, they've got to have a special election period, not just to enroll in a program, but also to disenroll from the program. So that's why we spend the time on the special election periods in the Medicare supplement space, because it is pertinent to the conversation. And we want to make certain if we're offering a med sup, those folks realize that becomes the coverage that takes care of the shortfall in a Medicare medical space, and they need to disenroll from an MA plan in order to take care of it. So it's a situation where knowing those SEP codes can help us regardless of the circumstance, because it gives us the opportunity to change. It also gives us that help of helping an individual who may be in their first year as a Medicare Advantage prescription drug member, because they have that trial SEP as well. That gives them the opportunity to opt out of that program in the first of the year and pick up different types of coverages, Medicare supplement and PDP programs. One of the things that is interesting as well is there are changes that have been brought about that allow special election periods to go back to the original Medicare, that trial period, and that is pertinent to folks who had a Medicare supplement plan in the past, dropped it, went to an MA plan, and then are going back. Trial right is available to them for a year period with all carriers but one who extends it to 2. It's also a situation we have to be aware of. If someone does drop their MAPD plan and they go back to original Medicare, we help them with a med sup. We've got to at least steer them in the right way for the prescription drug coverage, because it's not part of a Medigap policy. It's also pertinent for us to know that if someone enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan when they were first eligible for Medicare, they also have this trial period as well, where they can go back if it's in that first year. There are specific states out there that provide additional rights, and some of that may be based on birthdays or different periods of the year, depends upon the state you're in, but it's important to know how this works so we can handle it. It's also important for us to realize that there are pertinent differences between, loving the word pertinent today, There are real differences between a Medicare supplement and a Medicare Advantage plan, and a lot of it, in personal opinion, deals with the differences that come into play most frequently is a network associated with one of the types of plans, the MAPD plan, or not the other, unless you have a Medicare Medicare Select Medicare supplement plan that deals with a specific hospital. But generally, you don't have a network restriction, and then you have the premium differences that are required in that area, where a lot of the Medicare Advantage plans are now available for zero premium. Medicare supplement premiums are based upon a person's area, where they live, whether they're a boy or girl, how old they are. So we have some differences there that come into play, and it's pertinent for us to know those differences to make certain that we are addressing the needs of our prospecting clients, not just what we sell. And in the Medicare supplement space, that deals with what plans are available to an individual, because even though the plans are standardized and modernized, there are a portion of the Medicare beneficiaries, if they became active and available to access Medicare after the first of this year that we're going through, January 1st of 2020, there are a couple plans they can't get based on that. And that macro legislation, that was 5 years ago it was passed, or titled at least, coming into play, especially at the first of the year. We have to make certain that those folks that are accessing Medicare now know their choices and what they can actually qualify for. And what they can't is the CNF plans. And so we have in this particular slide some live links to discussion on MACRA specifically. You've had a year of it now. You're probably sick of hearing it to a degree, but a little review doesn't hurt, and this can help you explain that. This chart also can help you, because we'll see, particularly when we talk about, I spent a little time on the under 65 Medicare beneficiary. In most states, they are able to access a Medicare supplement through Plan A, and we see that that just has these particular benefits. It will help them with their Part A coinsurance and hospital coverage. It will help them with their Part B coinsurance, copayments, helps with blood, and it helps with hospice. Some of the other things that come into play and why people really look for a med sup are covered by a Plan A, and it then gives us an opportunity to explore other options for those individuals to help them. This also lays out the fact that the folks that are coming on Medicare, first eligible after 1/1/20, these are the plan choices that are not available to them. So the CNF are out the door for those individuals. One of the things that helps us, however, in this new normal is the fact that we're seeing some differences in how people operate across the board. That includes us as agents being active virtually, more telephonically, perhaps needing the electronic tools to help people with choices because we're not sitting across the table from them. But we're seeing also that seniors are becoming increasingly digitally savvy, and there's a smaller percentage as we go along that do not access electronic means of obtaining information. So people who are over 65 are one of the biggest users on the internet of Facebook. And we're seeing that as kind of a tool that helps them become comfortable with online presence. And they have an opportunity then also to do some shopping online. That's where tools with that information embedded in it, tied to us as agents, can be very, very helpful. It also then gives them that opportunity to go through and look at some of the different choices and do the shopping ahead of time, which may shorten our sales cycle as well. Because honestly, there's a ton of information out there. It's not a government agency. It's a marketing organization or another entity that is offering that information as well, just like you do as you discuss the different choices. So we have to be prepared to offer them either a in-person appointment, which in some areas is not possible at this point in time. They're shut down. We're seeing some things with the spike in COVID-19 that may push that percentage even higher. But keep in mind, we are designated as an essential business, So we can go out and about if we visit with folks and do it properly and do it where we're not endangering their health or ours. And then, of course, there are people that's like, I'm not seeing anybody. I don't want to catch this thing. They are, however, many times open to a virtual experience where we are doing things through Zoom or other packages that help them visit with us about the programs that we're offering. So we have to be prepared to pivot, and we have to make certain that we realize that one size doesn't fit all, because in certain areas there are people that will purchase a Medicare supplement based by the name that is on that package. So that color of lipstick on the pig is their choice, and we'll see that the Medicare supplement space is dominated by certain carriers. We see United Health Group's programs through AERP as a major shareholder. Mutual of Omaha is a biggie. Aetna through their CVS programs as well. Our partnership of is a big player in many markets, as is the Blue Cross Blue Shield programs. If they are part of Anthem, or if they're part of a individual state's offering through a Blue Cross Blue Shield, or if they're part of the Healthcare Service Corporation that handles 5 states with that blue label as well. Cigna, Humana, they're big players. You also have then an assortment of smaller players that are accessing that market based on certain niche needs. So we'll discuss those in just a second. And that's basically, we're using a tool available without cost to agents contracted with our organization to offer those quotes specific to Medicare Advantage plans in a particular market. It's important to note that this is available without cost, of course, but it is also then a program that gives us an opportunity to do a comparison based on more than just price. And a lot of times, if you're selling on here's the cheapest in the market, you may not have a contract with the cheapest in the market. It may be a program that takes a while to get contracted with. You miss that opportunity. But you look at the area and what's there. This tool also then gives us direction as to, hey, I need this carrier as part of my program, and I want to make certain that I can access it. And we rolled out this past fall the Medicare Center program that gives you a single log-on access to 3 different types of quoting programs. One powered by Connecture, one powered by Sunfire, one powered by CSG. A single login. It also gives you the opportunity to take advantage of the CRM that comes as part of the program, and it gives you the tools you need to be compliant as well. And for those of us active in the Medicare supplement space, you say, well, gee, I don't need a scope of appointment for a MedSup. No, you don't. But you're probably going to talk about prescription drug programs to a degree or not. This gives you that opportunity to pursue that discussion as well. So if you're in that space, having a program like this that can get you not only the electronic scope of appointment and store it for that required 10-year period, whether we sell them or not, it also then gives us an opportunity to store that prospect's information, but also then do so compliantly and move forward in a fashion that serves us not only on the front end, but by capturing that document and using an electronic enrollment function within this. It takes the person and ourselves through the entire sales process. So in our area, when we look at Medicare supplements, we're looking for that quoting tool that'll give us the opportunity to do just that. And that is the use of Medicare Center CSG program, where you have a login and you can basically pull information in different areas of the insurance world. When we talk about Medicare supplements, this is where we're going to pull a quote and give us detail. It also can give us some information on Medicare Advantage plans in a market. Are we talking about that again, John? Well, if you're in a target market for MedSup, it's helpful to know what the penetration for Medicare Advantage is in that area. That will do it. It also has an electronic app function for many of the carriers that are in this diagnostic tool. And it gives us an opportunity to cross-sell for hospital indemnity and dental as well. We don't see as many hospital indemnity sales naturally occurring with Medicare supplements versus Medicare Advantage plans, but that is something to consider for the additional expense that a person has outside of the medical world when they access a claim. So if they go in the hospital, they still may need extra bucks for one thing or another. So talking about hospital indemnity is a pertinent point of today's conversation. It's also an opportunity for us to basically do the old Columbo close and say, hey, one more question. Who's your dentist? Are you accessing dental care? Who's your plan with? Simple questions that can also bring up a discussion on dental. That's one of the reasons we want that scope as well out there, no matter what section of the Medicare space you're working in, because by utilizing the different categories that are listed on that, it gives us an opportunity, a natural entree into discussions of other product types that deal with health. You'll notice in this quote engine, they also have a component for final expense. That's the one category that can't be discussed in the course of a Medicare Advantage appointment or a Medicare supplement. That's not as pertinent because you can talk about it because it's, hey, Medicare supplements are subject to different regulations. So we want to make certain that we look at and are familiar with this tool and how it can help us, because it gives us the opportunity to not only give that quote, but cross-sell and enroll through a single program. So let's look at specifically how that works. Bear with me. As you log into Medicare Center, you wouldn't see this particular type of login. This is going direct to that system. But this gives you then the opportunity to sign in and take care of procuring some of the basic information you need in order to work a discussion that's there for you. Well, it appears I have a lot of windows open. So let's look at running a Medicare supplement quote. It'll give us details on different plans and how they are and aren't available. This is also an area where we see an announcement of carriers that are in the E function, the E-app function within this software. It's nice to have those reminders because even though we're engaged, it makes us think through the process and work through some of the different opportunities that are available to us. We can enter in the client's name and save it that fashion if we like, but it'll pull up different types of zip codes in our area, different types. Well, it pulls up the zip code for your area, and that is one of the big precursors of finding out what different things cost. This is a zip code that our offices are in, and let's look at an individual that is turning 65. They may have been in the system for a bit. We'll look at a female, and this gives us the opportunity to discuss Plan F, because people that have been in the system and had picked up a C or an F, well, they can change from a different C or F as well. And some of that is driven by premium, some of that is driven by circumstance. But in this way, we're going to find out for a 67-year-old person living in 75019 in either Dallas or Denton counties in North Texas without a household discount, what this is going to bring them. We think for a moment, along with the software, and it gives us that, and we can set it up based on whatever our choices happen to be. See, here's another pop-up that's telling us we have additional choices with the e-app through this system. It keeps us on our toes and informed. You can set it up based on the comparison by premium. You can do it by name, whatever. But this is telling us then that this individual in this zip code has different choices available to them. How you go about discussing those choices can be further enhanced by this system because it has those market analyses available to you that tells you, okay, if I get in this program as a Medicare supplement policy holder, what can I expect as to cost increases? Because there are standardized age increases. There are different increases for many circumstances based on medical cost in that area and how they're raising the cost of the premium across the board. They can't do it just for one individual, but it can help you with that. And it can also give you detail as to how pertinent that carrier is in your particular market. It gives you the dollars that are in that system based on the numbers they pull for premiums. So this tells us, okay, you're getting this program. This is the least expensive one in the batch. It's new to the area, so we don't see an increased forecast based on the history of this program. Too young to be in it. But these are some of the price increases we can expect as we age. What this is going to do for us as agents is give us the opportunity to take the focus off the cheapest plan in the area. That helps us with our persistency and retention. It makes the person comfortable with the fact that they can look at, as an age increase comes about, what things are going to cost with the program, and can really make that simpler for you when it comes to persistency and those annual reviews that we do with our client. This gives us then an opportunity also to make certain, do we have the carriers we need in our area in order to be competitive on a price basis. That is always a great hook in advertisement. There are a couple of companies that will actually create a postcard for you, no cost, based on a quarterly basis, a certain number that you can mail out that gives the rates as well. So some different things that not only predicates a choice for the individual when it comes to their program, but also a choice for us on the companies that we work with and how we can market with them. So a very valuable tool that gives us the opportunity to apply discounts, the household discount, other discounts, find out some of the underwriting questions we need for an individual if underwriting comes into play, which it does in a lot of circumstances. But it gives us then the opportunity to deliver information. Either we can keep it send it as a PDF for a particular plan, put it in our files, or also pull an Excel list that will list all plan types in that particular area, all companies in that area that are in this program, and it gives us then additional information to make a discussion available. As I mentioned, that tool does have that e-app. In many circumstances, it takes you directly into the enrollment process. Sometimes it may direct you to that carrier's website for the use of their e-app as well, but it makes it very, very convenient if you are working virtually on your computer, doing this in a discussion, during a Zoom meeting or whatever, or in a face-to-face situation with that computer in front of you. Big common denominator, electronic means of taking care of people, and that helps because we want to make certain we're not putting all our eggs in one basket, and we realize that selling Medicare supplements does give us an entree to discuss other programs in that same appointment in a different fashion than we can with Medicare Advantage and PDP appointments. Medicare supplements don't cover prescription drugs. You might run across someone who still has a Plan J from years ago. That drug benefit is very limited and is not credible coverage for Part D. So you have some folks who run across that, but generally med subs don't have prescription drug coverage. In certain circumstances, they may have limited coverage outside the U.S. A lot of them may not. It also doesn't cover long-term or short-term care or some of those ancillary needs that are another discussion for us to help them get the coverage they need for those anticipated changes in their health or for different circumstances. So that dental, vision, hearing program can be very helpful, as are critical illness programs that address different chronic illnesses or cancer specifically, other programs that have other illnesses in their sites. And where this helps us is when we have multiple programs in a household, it drives up our persistency, our retention across the board. They don't have to even be with the same company. If we have multiple policies in a household and we're their agent, that's the pertinent point. We're the one that's driving that coverage. And if we have multiple policies in a household, our retention grows. And we all know what that is. That's our renewals. That's our salary, so to speak. And so how are we going to help put you in front of those folks in order to access this market? Well, one of the first things is if you're looking at a total global view of the appointment with your prospect or client, you're going to need carrier support and carrier contracts. What this system does is allow you to create an agent profile where it has all your information in a singular space, your E&O, your licensure information, all the different things that come into play in those circumstances, and it allows you then to contract electronically with many of the companies that you need in your market. Very helpful when you're picking up the ancillary programs. Specifically, there are certain companies that don't utilize this program, and there may be different contracting means that come into play there, but this helps you keep your information in one place and contract electronically across the board. We also offer discounted errors and admissions coverage to qualified agents. Who's a qualified agent? Well, you got to contract with us. That qualifies you. And it gives you the opportunity to own an errors and admissions program that will cover you regardless of whom you contract through. We recognize that as an independent insurance agent, you got a bunch of people you can contract through, whoever you want. This takes care of you regardless of who that contracts through, and makes certain that it protects your back end for any liability in this area. We also help you with continuing education bundles through our association with WebCE, and we can help you with your own benefit package where you're offering yourself, in essence, a modified, a guarantee issued DI policy, disability income policy, based on a modified guarantee issue basis, discounted rates, where you get a piece of that commission as well on yourself. So it helps you with your own benefit package. Much as where today's program is being recorded, we've recorded a number of programs that we've done in the past. Every one I do, I record, and they are available for you 24/7 through our library of past presentations, available either on our website at premiersmi.com or on our YouTube channel, where you can pull these programs 24/7. They may discuss specific product categories, as we are doing today. They may specifically address different programs, but they also have different marketing and enrollment type of situations where we give you hints and tips to help with different community activity or different ways of addressing a need to get in front of an individual. We actually have programs that specifically speak to direct mail in your choices, working with prospects through their doctor or through their church. And a lot of this, that detail can be stored for you, I should say, through the Medicare Center program, which you have no cost access to, utilizing that CRM. Those electronic tools, either for the Medicare Advantage PDP program or the CSG tool that we briefly looked at today, they're all part of that program. And while Medicare Advantage and PDP plans, generally they can do some things for front runners or whatever program you want to talk about, where they can help with AHIP in certain areas, do some different marketing support for you. They can't add additional incentives like you can with Medicare Supplement and ancillary products. So we have a portion of our website dedicated to that information, where you can make certain if you are offering a particular Medicare Supplement, what type of marketing incentive do they have in play? Right now there's a ton of them. And do they give you additional opportunity to qualify for trips or something of that nature? Well, some of them do, some of them don't. Some of it depends upon the product, and it's important to note that any of that qualification through our organization also helps you qualify for our Premier Producers Convention, which is now changed from a cruise, in light of today's circumstance, to additional dollars in your pocket. Based on points for particular programs, it can help you receive up to $4,000 in cash through a virtual event with other gifts available to you through our organization. So it gives us then to take and look at all these tools we have available, utilize some of the options we have of getting in front of people through cold calls. We can still cold call for MidSup, or through those community-based programs I referenced, the faith-based organizations, through your churches and synagogues and mosques, through the providers that deliver the care for the programs that we're offering, doctors, specialists, hospitals, DME people, home health care people, those sorts of individuals that we can co-op a marketing campaign with to get in front of folks. And of course, the retail programs, we all recognize and see the opportunity in programs such as Walmart in the past in present circumstances, we're seeing some of that even go virtual. So keep in mind, we got another presentation coming up on if you've been in retail or you're looking to establish that moving forward, if the environment changes, how can we do it and make it worth our while? There are different carrier programs that can help you with the marketing support as well. Some of the Medicare supplement programs are very innovative in how they do that, so that's something to consider. Community activities, well, a lot of that's virtual now, but keep in mind, a lot of the churches are having their services virtually. That gives us then an opportunity to present information to that church and utilize that service. We also see that many of the doctors are doing telehealth, so some of the folks may be much more comfortable with that electronic means. We talked about that consumer savvy a little earlier, but it gives us then opportunities to work with centers of influence in our community. It also allows us with these different tools to door knock where compliant. There are a number of agents out there door knocking for med subs, and we have the tools that can help you with that as well. But many people now are relying very heavily on social media and direct mail. We have programs that can help you there. So that different support can garner you an opportunity, particularly with direct mail based on past production. It'll drive down the cost. It enables you to use that tried and true means of reaching out to people and take care of it on a much easier way of putting pressure on our pockets. We can do it consistently. So it's like an exercise program. We're not doing it just once and feeling some pain. We're doing it regularly and seeing benefit that comes out of it. We do use preferred lead vendors for that direct mail. We do so we can make certain that the compliance oversight that the carriers task us with is being put into play. You have an opportunity not only to order a mailing completely by yourself through one of those vendors, specifically address an area and wait for the returns, or you can purchase one-offs on different returns through direct mail as well, through two different programs where the availability and the cost of those programs can vary a little bit, not only by time, but by state. Some states are harder to get a response. So we can use this as part of our program, but like everything else, as I mentioned, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You can access some Facebook leads for final expense or Medicare supplement through our organization with an opportunity that we have with a particular vendor. And we're doing all that because we want your business. We want to be part of you addressing the needs of your community and of your agency, your personal goals that you have in play. And by utilizing some of these tools and just simple techniques can make a huge difference for you. If you haven't been in the Medicare supplement space and you are a Medicare Advantage agent, so to speak, don't turn away a part of the market that you can access. It's the same way for Med Sup people. If you're not interested in the Medicare Advantage space because of one reason or another, well, make certain that you have connections for folks that are active there so you can take care of all the people. We have to determine programs that may be in their best interest and move forward with that. So taking this information, putting it in your personal marketing program and acting on it can help you reach out to a greater portion of the Medicare population as well, being well versed in, hey, what do you qualify for? Who's available in our area? What are the costs, looking across the board and making certain that we're addressing the needs of our prospects and clients. So before we wind up, because we're a little past the top of the hour, we're seeing some people that have had technical difficulty here, pardon me, where you should have it completely there. So I'm not certain what the challenge is for one individual who's having just audio and no video. The recording will have both, and we're only seeing that with one person, so that might be a problem we have just there. But that is the extent of the questions that we have today in the box. However, a discussion about these programs and what's pertinent for you in your area, not only in making certain that you have the companies there and the tools there to support you in offering Medicare supplements, but what Premier Marketing can do for you on an overall basis to make this part of an organized, systemized campaign to grow your agency. And we want to make certain that we can help you with that. So watch for the follow-up that will come to you by email. Check your spam filters, because I have a number of links and attachments that come into it, and it's a blind copy, so we can make certain we reach everybody with that information. So watch your spam filters. It should be available for you not long after the video updates as well. But if you are looking for particular information for yourself now, before that follow-up comes to you, you can reach us at our toll-free number at 1-800-365-8208, or access information through our website at premiersmi.com. Until we have the opportunity to discuss it, okay, another question popped up. Did you say that someone who has grandfathered in Plan F can still make the changes to other Plan Fs? Yep, that's what I said. And yes, that's what they can do. So if you run across a 70-year-old that's had a Plan F for 5 years and the premiums are up and they're looking to change from that Plan F to a different Plan F, they can do it. That's one of the common misconceptions of the macro legislation, where, boy, did the C or F go away? Or not completely. It all depends on when you access Medicare. And it also is pertinent for us to realize that someone on one of those programs can switch to another one of them through this opportunity. So all that said, until we visit again, until you have some information that is pertinent to your situation, you want more, some of the things that we can do to make it available to you, well, that discussion is one we look forward to and hope to have with you in the very near future. And until that time, hey, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much for coming on and investing your time. For those of you that have worked with us in the past, we thank you for your business as well. I'll watch for the follow-up, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so very much. You have a great day, great weekend.